So have you built any houses that are based on this one?
We've built about 12 now.
Right.
But and some of them are quite different. We're working more with curved roofs and stuff like that
Right,
as well.
yeah.
It's kind of come from getting Coppice products into the building industry is one way of sort of getting the woods remanaged and getting more people working in the woods and more income back into people in the woods. But you get an architect will quite often maybe design a beautiful building, but then afterwards they think about the resources, where they're going to get them from. And I've got quite a few architects now. I've done day courses for them when they come, and we actually look at resource first. So you actually start to look at, okay, what have we got? We've got 2 acres of chestnut coppice, we've got a pile of stone there, some clay, we've got a couple of oak trees that need thinning. Right, now you design your building.
Yeah.
So you're starting with resource and then using your architectural skills to design with that resource, and it's a total different flip on the way of thinking. So that
money you'd save in fuel alone, like, do you know what I mean?
Well, exactly. I mean, it's the classic one. As I see it often, I see a building going up and I look at the roof trusses in it and I think, oh, that's lovely. That's Scots pine, and you look closely and you realise it's stamped and it's Scots pine that's come from Russia. Yeah. And yet standing behind the building 50 yards away is a Scots pine woodland that needs managing, and you just think, oh, what's going on here? Yeah. About 15 years ago, I got contacted by a guy who wanted to learn a bit about working in the woods, and he gave me a call, said, can I come along and help you? And I said, yeah, fine, and he worked with me that winter, and I enjoyed it. I'd been working on my own in the woods for a while, and it was quite nice to have some company. It helped with the heavy shifting of the timber, and it was nice to be passing on what I knew. And that kind of started a pattern. And then the next year I had a couple of people come, and then suddenly I realised that every year there were people who wanted to come. After about 3 or 4 years, the demand for the amount of people who wanted to come grew. I decided I needed to extend it into an experience, one where I got more of an opportunity to get to know the people coming, see how they got along with one another, and hopefully give me some sound basis on what to make a judgment. But also the ones who didn't get picked would learn some skills while they were here. They'd enjoy the experience and pick up some, hopefully, some tips and useful skills to help them on their life journey. That's what's so different with Greenwood, because it slides through it so much more easily. You haven't got that jarring, it's much more even. But, such is the nature of peg making. Well, what I'm looking for is people who are not too qualified for the position I'm offering. If I get an applicant from somebody who's had a lot of experience working in forests and woods, I kind of feel they've already got, they've already had a chance. They already are well on their way to getting on with a career or work in the woodland, and therefore, they would kind of be depriving somebody else maybe who hasn't got that opportunity. So I'm quite often looking for a slightly blank canvas, somebody who's really enthusiastic, but hasn't actually necessarily got that much experience.
My name's Matt. I'm from London originally. It is a commitment, but I think there's only one way you can do that. I don't think you can, woodlands are so slow to understand and to manage, and to, that you can't, there's no short course you could do, I don't think.
My name's Bea, I'm living in Bristol at the moment. Something that I've really felt from coming here is I feel like I've really seen the potential of myself, because I've never thought that, I could do this. I guess I don't have a lot of belief in myself in some ways. And I feel like I've just had a glimpse into what my life could be if I really did believe in that, and had someone else believe in me as well, who is like really skilled and experienced. And that, just the possibilities and opportunities that are there for me to really embrace that are pretty amazing.
my name's Mikey. I was brought up originally in Buxton. I've sort of got to that point. I need to invest in my future instead of sort of helping other people line their pockets, as I see it a bit in what I'm doing at the moment. Like, I've always been a very hard worker, and it's never really been about the money. I enjoy work. I enjoy doing something that sort of gives me a satisfaction and makes me feel like I'm helping and making a difference. And I think I can put that into me now. Like, I think it's time for me to, instead of just be doing it to help other people, which, I mean, I don't mind doing, but I want to use that sort of drive that I've got within myself to actually get myself to a position that I'm like, yes, this is what I want to be doing, and really invest that time in my future.
My name's Claire, and how did I not pay? It's a good question, actually. I've always had very strong beliefs about the environment and the need to throw your energy at doing something worthwhile and important, and needs to happen now, really. I've never actually seen his TV programme, although I owe him one, because my mum's been wondering what I'm doing with my life. I'm 30 now, you know, I don't have traditional employment, and not traditional is the wrong word. Maybe I do have traditional employment. Yeah, so I owe him one for that, because since I've been like, look, Mum, you know that guy off the telly, and she quite fancies Kevin MacLeod, so that Ben Law guy off the telly, well, that's the sort of thing I'm interested in, and that's given her a handle on like understanding why I keep hitchhiking around the country off to obscure woodlands.
I'm Stuart, I'm from Swansea in South Wales. I'm really interested in learning about crafts and, well, natural building, really, because it would be a dream. It is a dream of mine to build my own house. I'm working with the land and growing food. I think it's important for everyone in this day and age. If not to grow all your own food, just understand about how to do it and the importance of it.
Right, the next thing to do, then we got to cut into the peg, make a slit in there. Now, got to think about which way the grain's running on the peg. Say I was to put my wedge in this way, yeah, then I would be forcing that apart and potentially risk cleaving the bit of chestnut. I've had different numbers of apprentices over the year. I've worked with 1, and I've worked with 2, and I've worked with 3. They've been the numbers I've tried, and I found 2 to be the ideal. I also think with 2 people, they're there to kind of help each other out. It's not easy here in the winter. People start in November. It's not a bright sunny day like it is today. It's going to be cold, it's going to be wet, the leaves are gone from the trees, it's going to be getting dark early evening, and they're going to be, you know, disappearing back to a caravan, lighting a stove and a candle, and they're going to be there from 4 o'clock when it gets dark until it gets light in the morning. They've got to be up when it's still dark and cooking their breakfast ready to start work. Well, having 2 people, there's a bit of support there. They can share their meals, they can help one another out, and so finding 2 people who get on is real key to me in this whole process.
Who's having the red bush?
I guess my general advice is it's probably going to be harder, and it's probably going to be more challenging than a lot of the things that they will have done before, but it's that shouldn't put you off. Don't get hung up about, living outside over winter's going to be tough. Yes, it might be, but you'll be fine.
Have you ever kept bees, Ben?
I have. Bees for a number of years, actually.
Here?
No, I lost them to Varroa about 7 years ago.
What is that thing?
Varroa, it's like a little mite that eats the wings of bees, and up to about 10 years ago, it wasn't in the UK, it was just in Europe. It's wiped out, a huge amount of our bee population, really. But I tried to treat them herbally by sort of putting things like rosemary and time sandwiched between the supers and the hives, which is a bit of a repellent to the mite. But the problem is the bees are so good at cleaning up, they pull it all out and take it out their hive. Didn't realise that it was there to try and help them. Yeah, I think when you work in woodland, and especially in coppice woodland, and you realise the kind of the history of what you're working in, and the fact that when you go out and cut in the winter, you're cutting something that woodsmen for generations before have cut and moulded into the very product and environment that you're working in. You kind of realise that you've also got to pass that on to other people. And when I first started working in the woods, I went out and would meet with other people to try and learn skills. And I remember going out to meet with a hurdle maker who worked out in the woods, and he'd turn up and he'd chat to me, but every time I turned up, he'd put his tools down. He would break for an hour and a half just to make sure that he wouldn't show me what he did. And that was very much, I think, the pattern that, your skill was your livelihood, and therefore you wouldn't want to pass it on. Well, I think those times have changed, and I think people coming to learn skills now are learning them because they know they need them, and it's no longer a matter of keeping them locked up in a cupboard. You've got to share these out. People need life skills, and we've got woodlands that need managing, and coppice woodlands in particular. And therefore, if I can give the opportunity and pass this on to a few more people who will go out into the woods, it's got to be a positive thing. Okay. Yeah, go one more. Okay, it's looking good. So have a little pause there, just holding it upright. And we should be able to lay this gently down. Well done. Just like that. Yep.
Sticking out a bit at the top, is that okay? Or should it be
it's resting
flat
here,
against?
isn't it?
I'm now 3 days into the selection process, and it gets more and more difficult. I've got 5 great people out there, all with great attributes, all who would be quite suitable one way or another. So I've got a difficult task ahead of me from now on. We've been doing various activities in the woods, which gives me an idea of people's skill level. Obviously everyone's incredibly keen and enthusiastic for these few days, and possibly more so than they might be in the middle of winter, so I have to bear that in mind. And on top of that, really to see who's getting along with who, and that's proving quite difficult because everyone's getting along at the moment.
So that's rhododendron, not to be confused with this, which is chestnut. Yeah, don't go hacking this down or Ben will chase you around the wood with a large stick.
I don't listen to much hip hop, but I listen to the root.
Yeah.
I like the root. I like Mo's Death.
Hey?
I like Mo's Death.
Yeah.
Quite like, I guess that's quite popular. I don't know much sort of underground hip hop really. I like, do you know like Boards of Canada?
Yeah, I love a bit of Boards of Canada.
Absolutely obsessed with them. Except they haven't done anything for the last 5 years.
A minimum commitment of 4 months, that's really to at least guarantee that we get the coppice cut. If I know that people are here for at least 4 months, then we get
it's
the coppice
worth your
season
investment
done.
as well, you know what I mean? Obviously you invest a lot of time in the training and things like that, so you've got to get the return on that.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I'd really want to commit to the full year, to be honest. At this point, I'd like to get I'd like to see the year as how everything affects everything else, if you know what I mean. Sort of see it progress throughout the year, the different seasons, the different jobs that comes from the different seasons. Like, I think getting that full year-long experience is really the best that I could sort of get from it, and that's really what I'd be aiming to do.
Winter time here, I mean, it gets dark 4 o'clock. There's little LED light in here. It's dark, you're going to be up in the caravan. There's no lighting in your caravan other than what you supply yourself, or some candles. They're quite long nights, and obviously you won't be on your own, but I mean, I write quite a lot over the winter, so I'm about, but a lot of evenings I won't be. So it's you're going to have quite a lot of time to deal with yourself and your own space, and it's just how comfortable you feel. Because I always warn people that there can be a sort of sense of sort of a little bit of isolation there. I mean, obviously a lot will depend on the other person you're here with as well, but you know, how well you deal with, you know, your own space in that situation, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are lots of sort of things that I'd like to get done while in this situation, so if I can read and write by light enough in that environment, then that would do me. There's definitely some things that I wanted to sort of tie in with it, and, so that would be fine.
Again, in a big build, you might in all have a couple of hundred logs by the time you've gone for sort of roundwood rafters and on verandas and stuff. So what we tend to do is peel enough to make up a frame, and then when you're making a frame, there's always moments when you're waiting for somebody to finish a joint, and then you start on another pole. That way you're not sort of like constantly peeling day in, day out. Easier to peel from butt to tip. So grab a spade and give it a go. There's also two sides to the spade, as you can see. It's easier, I find, to have it that way up. If you have it that way up, you tend to dig in a bit much. You see, that's running flat. That way you take off a little less. Yeah. Well, it's been a great selection meet. I've had 4 days with a great group of people, and I'm now left wondering who to choose. And it's no easy task. They have been a really good group from many different respects. Lots of positives all around, really, and it's going to be quite difficult reflecting over the next week. I mean, I just need a bit of downtime now to actually just really think about, you know, how they've been, how they'll react with one another, how I think I'll get on with them. I think all 5 are perfectly capable of having a good season in the woods and learning well. It's just making sure I make the right choice so it works for me as well.
And I haven't made it yet.
I'll spend one day over the weekend doing something away from here, not sure what yet, probably going off for a walk, and hopefully a few things will start to drop into place. Then, you know, moments will come back. I'll think of qualities, strengths, weaknesses, and, you know, probably one person will come clear out of the group, and once I've got them, then it's really matching the best person. It's a matter of finding really the best pair that I think will get on, and the best pair that I'll get on with, and that's really going to be the decision, and that's going to just take a little bit of time to ferment and for me to work through, but it will come.
Yeah, that would be
Whack it on you. No.
Oh, I like it.
Right, 1, 2, 3.
Oh no! You moved! How did you move?
It didn't come off anyway. I think we should point out that we're actually all still sober.
Why don't we abandon that picture
I think,
on there?
yeah, it's a write-off,
and move on
isn't
to
it?
that
Oh, well.
style.
You want
Made us
someone
laugh.
to turn that into a pizza?
Yeah, you can still salvage pizza from that. Disaster.
There's your pizza, mate.
Yes.
Master chef.